I'm so excited to share this video with you guys. It's something that I've never done before because I wasn't really making bookish videos at this time last year, but it is my top 5 books of 2018, and I basically read 58 books in 2018, which I'm really proud of. I smashed my target of 50 and it's the most books that I've read in a year in quite a long time. So yeah, it was quite a hard choice to pick my top 5, and I don't have all of them with me because basically 3 of them I've given away to friends because I just thought they were too good not to, in effect. And if I keep looking down, it's because I've got a list of the 5 and I'm trying to remember exactly which order I wanted to put them in. It took a while to decide because it was all so close. But number 5 is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. It's about 2 boys who are living in Asia, and they basically have this really great friendship until one of them betrays the other one. And one of them is of a much higher class than his best friend, and it talks about the boy that betrayed his friend and how he lives with this throughout the rest of his life. He moves to America and he talks about what it's like to be an immigrant in America, and it's a really incredible book. It's very moving and it's quite graphic, so I wouldn't recommend it to you if you were a teen. I was recommended not to read it when I was like 14, 15 and said to wait till adulthood, and although I could have handled the graphic scenes back then, I don't think I would have appreciated the book as much as I did when I read it now. So number 4 is my only non-fiction book of the 5. It's called Remember This When You're Sad by Maggie Van Eyck, and this was one of the first books that I read like early on in the year. It's got a really beautiful cover and I wish I could show it to you because I loved it, but basically it talks through a lot of mental illnesses and mental problems and kind of how to tackle them. It has these big lists, so it's got a list of things to do when you feel like self-harming but you're trying to recover, and it's not one of those things where it's got 5 things on it and if you don't do any of them, well, that's it. You're just going to struggle. It's suggestions and they're really varied, and then you're not bombarded with too much information, which I find quite a lot of the time you are with mental health non-fiction books. It's kind of broken up with, so for example, the author will explain bipolar disorder and what it is and how it impacts your life, and then she'll tell a story about how it impacted her life. It's things like that, and it goes through quite a few different issues. And it also works through the body, so you have the heart, the skin. So the issues with the skin are obviously like self-harm and things like that. And I really loved it. It's got some really cute pictures in it as well, and I would definitely recommend that. I'll link all the books down below as well. Yes. Number 3 is one that I actually do have, which is The Vagina Monologues by Eve Ensler. I can't remember if I managed to upload my spotlight video on this. If I have, I'll link it. I filmed it and then I lost loads of footage, and I can't remember if this was in the footage I lost. But this is a play. It's the only play I read all year, and it basically talks about the importance of reclaiming the word vagina. It talks about sexual abuse and domestic abuse and the place of women in society. It's really short. It's about, I think the play itself is about 50-60 pages. Yeah, I think it's really important. It's been quite debated by feminists about it being not inclusive for trans people. The authors kind of argued against that, but I could see how it could be interpreted as not being inclusive, but I do think it is a really important book to read nonetheless. And then number 2 is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I'm just putting it out there. I've had to say this quite a few times recently, but I just really do not agree with J.K. Rowling's current opinions and all the kind of insanity that she's coming out with, and her political opinions I'm not okay with. But this was one of the books that I read early on. I finished reading all the Harry Potter series over kind of Christmas, and this was in the new year. Obviously this is the final Harry Potter book, and it's the one where you kind of question everybody. You question Snape, you really question Dumbledore, and you question that, like, the main three's friendship. Yeah, basically I've reread the first few, like the short 3, quite a few times, but I haven't reread the long ones. I think rereading this was the first time that I've reread it. So I probably read it when I was like 15, 16, and now I've come back to it again for the first time. So it was really something that I was happy I did, and I definitely had a new perspective on everything. And then finally, number 1 is another book that I don't have. It's Home Fire by Camilla Shamsi. Again, this was one that I'd filmed, but I'm pretty sure I lost the footage for, of a book spotlight. It's basically told by a Muslim girl living in London. She goes to America to study, and the first scene is her being interrogated in an airport. And you can kind of see how unnecessarily brutal and just over the top the border security guards are, and how there's this obviously distrust because she's Muslim and she's wearing hijab. And then it kind of pans back to her life in London with her brother and her sister, where their father was a jihad and he was killed. And they're kind of living under this scrutiny, both by the government and by people that they live with, people on the street, strangers, everybody. And it's just, it tells the story of what happens when her brother starts to get involved with what her father was doing, and how it impacts the whole family. And it's just an incredible book. It's so well written, it's got such an important message, and I would definitely recommend it to everybody. So again, I'm going to link everything below, and I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.